Hello, Michelle. Thank you for joining me tonight. I am so excited that Bronson and Natalie recommended you to me. And thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I appreciate the invite.
Oh, it's awesome. This is going to be a get to know whole session because it was so quick. And it was like, oh, this is amazing. So I've been trying to catch up on you and what you're about and everything. And it was like, okay, this will be fun.
Absolutely.
So in the chat so far, there's Evelyn.
Hi,
And I'll tell you,
Evelyn.
if you've never met Evelyn, she is the sweetest. First thing you meet her, you notice her picture is Dr. Barry.
I think I actually met her at Keto Palooza last year. She looks very familiar.
Yes, she would have made you a friendship bracelet.
Maybe not last year, the year before. Yeah.
Yep. This is Lynn. Hi, Cindy,
Hi.
Michelle, Evelyn, and everyone. And Sean. And then everybody talks among each other. And here's Jeff. And I got to tell you a real quick story about Jeff. We go to local meetups a lot, my husband and I. And I don't know if you've seen any of my videos, but my husband will come on as my taste tester. And he calls himself my guinea pig.
Your guinea pig. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, we were at this meetup and Jeff came over to our table. I want to meet the guinea pig. I'm like, what the? It was pretty funny. It made my husband feel great. It was awesome. Good evening, Cindy, members, chat, mods, Lynn, Sean. Hello, hello. Her name is Abril. I hope
Nice.
I'm saying that right. It's it's a heck of a name. I love that name, A Brilliant, Blessed News and More. That's awesome. Anyhow, so Michelle, I know you're a coach.
Yes, ma'am.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you've had gastric bypass,
I had lap band.
lap band. So I knew there was some kind of bariatric stuff going on. And we'll talk about that later. Because I've had bypass.
We feel the same way.
Anyhow, so obviously we have connected through Bronson and Natalie through the ketogenic community.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell me what got you started with that and where you're at now and the whole process?
Yeah. So I would kind of go back to, I had the lap band done in 2011, May of 2011. And I no longer have that band in. It was removed in emergency surgery in 2015, almost exactly 4 years to the day it was put in. So when I started my ketogenic journey, I had zero restriction within my body. I was, physiologically able to eat anything and everything. And that's basically what I did. So I had teetered around and played with keto a few times, 2018, 2019, would do it for a couple of weeks. And then, you have a bad day at work, you just get frustrated, traffic is horrible, whatever. And it's screw it, let's get pizza. And that's how it always ended up, because unfortunately, I had a very enabling husband at that time. We enabled each other to an extreme negative. So we never stayed consistent with it. And it's funny because I get all these memories on my Facebook of, oh, keto, so horrible. Look at my meal. And I'm just like, because I never stuck with it. And yes, keto is just so horrible. It's such a hard thing to stick to. So June of 2020 is probably the darkest point of my life. I mean, I had lost my dad 9 months prior to that after a 5-month battle with Lewy body dementia. And just, it seemed my world was crumbling in around me, not only personally, but what was happening in the world anyway, in 2020. And we were all stuck at home, and it was just a very, very dark period for me. And I essentially hit my rock bottom at that point. And I'm watching the news and I'm seeing all these people who are dying. and they're talking about, the sicknesses that they had prior to contracting the virus. And I'm just like, that's me. And if I get this thing, I'm going to die. Like, I am way too young to die. This isn't okay. And there's people younger than me. So I sent my husband a text message because he was up in Seattle working at that point. And I said, I'm starting keto again. I don't care if you do it, but I am. And I'm cooking this way, and this is how it's going to be. If you want to follow it, cool. If not, okay. And his response to me was, okay, I like meat. And that was
There
it.
you go.
That
That's
was
all we
on a
needed.
Friday. That was on a Friday. And on Monday, it was, okay, let's go. Let's get started. And I will admit, I did the dirty keto at first because, you're so used to eating a certain type of way. And I was like, I have to stick to it this time. I can't stray from it. So I was that girl that bought all the keto products and, keto this and keto friendly. And, oh, okay, look, I can do this. Net carbs. Yes, net carbs. And I was losing weight, even then, because I was eating such a horrible diet at that point. When I started keto, I was 285 pounds. I wasn't that heavy when I had weight loss surgery. And so I was losing weight, not as quickly as my husband, of course, because guys, but I was losing weight. And then the more I started going into the influencers, I guess you can say, the people, and not just, social media, but Dr. Barry was huge for me. Dr. Sivas was huge for me. It was actually a couple years in that I met, or about a year and a half in that I met Bronson and, heard about him. And so I started following these people, and it was more and more. It was like, clean it up, clean it up, clean it up. Okay, let me get rid of this stuff. Let me not use these products. Let me get rid of these keto tortillas. Let's get it a little bit cleaned up and, kind of, let's actually get focused on this thing and eating real food instead of just trying to replace one bad thing with another less bad thing.
Right.
So I lost my first year 60 pounds, which, okay, cool. I lost 60 pounds. And the biggest thing with me was the overall change, as far as I didn't hurt all day, every day anymore.
Yep.
My feet didn't hurt when I would get out of bed. My elbows, like, I thought I had tendonitis in both elbows because I couldn't move them without being in excruciating pain. And one day I woke up and I sat up in bed and my back didn't hurt and my feet didn't hurt when I stood up, and wow, I don't have any pain. This is crazy. And I'm automatically thinking, oh, it's because I'm losing weight, as opposed to finally getting rid of all the inflammation in my body.
Same
And
here.
then, yeah. And then this started getting better. And it wasn't the dark thoughts anymore. It wasn't the negativity anymore. It was, I didn't hate myself as much as I had before that. And it was a complete turnaround, really, which was amazing to me because I had never experienced anything like that. Even after I had had weight loss surgery, I was still not in a great headspace. So yeah, first year I lost 60 pounds, and then I went on a 19-month stall and I lost nothing. So then that's when I got introduced to Bronson, and I started using Bronson as my fitness coach. And then he did a couple of health challenges and things like that. So I got involved with that, and I would kind of fluctuate a little bit, and started losing again, and then again stopped until I started a strength training program. And woo, was that the game changer for me right there.
Yeah. Wow. That's
Lifting
awesome.
heavy things.
Yep. And it's like, it's crazy. It's when you say the health benefits that come along that you don't even think about because you're in it for weight loss to begin with. And I mean, like I was saying backstage, 22 months, lost 100 pounds. And I'm like, hey, then I felt good. Then I felt like going out for walks. And then I felt like going and doing things. Before then, I'm like, I got to get healthy first. Yeah. I can't just jump into this stuff. I can't. And I mean, nor did I want to. When I started keto, it was during that horrible year in September. And I'm like, we're in the house anyway. What the heck, you know?
Right.
And yeah, and there was a lot of diseases in my family that, you know, heck, I don't want this. I don't want to be one of the statistics right now if you get caught with this virus. And, you know, I'm like, nope, nope, don't want it. Can't do it.
Yeah,
I had too much
absolutely.
going on with my husband. You know, for him to get it, it scared the heck out of me because he's a type 1 diabetic also. And I was like, we're not going anywhere, dude. I don't care. We're just, we're staying the heck away from everyone.
Yeah.
And we didn't go anywhere. When it was okay to go to the stores, I said, you put that mask on. If anybody's in that aisle, we're not going down it. You know, we did it all. We stayed away from everybody. It was crazy.
Yeah, it
So
was a scary time.
it's impressive what this does to you,
Mhm.
to your overall health, you know, and the people that suffered from anxiety and depression and how much that has, whew, it impresses me every day hearing all the stories. It's like, wow.
Well, and that's the
So,
thing is it's the health changes and you know, you've got the added bonus of weight loss on top of it. So and that
right,
but everybody's kind of the backwards from that of, well, no, I need to do this so I could lose weight. And they're not even paying attention to what it is, everything else, all the other positive changes that are happening within them until again, you wake up and you're like, wait, I'm not in pain. Okay. How'd
right.
that
Well,
happen?
even Dr. Barry said when he found keto after trying paleo, Mediterranean, all those different diets that he tried, and he was still practicing and losing weight. His patients were like, "Hey, doc, what are you doing?"
Hmm.
You know, and he told them, and then they started coming to him with all the health benefits, and he had no idea that it would help.
Yeah.
So, you know, it goes back to then, you know, and it's like, holy cow. And I'll tell you, I thank God for him every day because he's just done so much for this community. It's insane. And he's
Absolutely. It
not going
was
to stop.
Yeah, well, and what was funny was the tipping point for me was I don't think I even followed Dr. Barry on Facebook at that point. But somehow I got a notification from Facebook that he was going live with some report. And I'm like, well, I was working from home, might as well watch it.
Right.
And it was about it wasn't the American Heart Association, but it was a retraction essentially, and I'm trying to remember which organization it was. It was something to do with the cardiac community,
Mhm.
um, retracting the statements of okay, well, what we said back in the 60s and 70s may not have been correct. Saturated fats actually don't clog your arteries. They don't cause plaque buildup. It's actually triglycerides, which are, you know, blah 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 blah. So then I literally had no more excuses because that was always my excuse of, well, I have heart disease that runs in my family. And if I eat all this fat and I'm eating all this meat and these eggs and everything, then I'm just going to die sooner. So why would I do that to myself? Then I
Yep.
had no excuses.
It's like we live the same life, you know. It's crazy. But yeah, there was heart disease in my family. My dad died at 56 of them. I mean, he had a coronary major heart attack at 50 and wound up having quadruple bypass and open heart. 6 years later, he was gone. My mom died suddenly of a heart attack right after she turned 74.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
I'm inching towards that, you know, slowly, very slowly, I hope, but I'm inching towards that. It's scary because it
Yeah.
is prevalent in my family. And, you know, people in the chat, they know Dr. Barry, God, I love this man, but he insisted that everybody should know their CAC scores. And Michelle, I'll tell you, mine is over 6,000. And what do I do with that? Except
Mhm.
put it on the back burner and live my life because it stressed me out so bad. I thought I was going to die right then.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy. And he told me Keto Palooza, I talked to him about it. He said, you should get another one done. I'm like, that was my second one. The first one was 5,000 something. The
Okay.
second one, a year later, went up 10%. And I'm like, nope, not going to do it again. It was too much of a stressor. And no, I can't.
Mm.
This is Rick saying hello. And her name is Abril.
Abril.
Thank you so much. I hate to ask people to tell me pronounce their name. Sean, so we got to meet Michelle on the 2022 Low
Yep.
Carb Cruise and the Antithetic Conference in Maryland.
I knew I recognized that picture.
Yes. I got to meet them at Keto Palooza this past year. I've been 3 years in a row. I'm so sad they're not going to have one this year. Lynn, this is Stacy, Easy Peasy Keto. And Lisa is here. Everybody's just saying hi. This is funny. This is Andy. Gonna watch 2 times speed. Those are so funny, Andy. I know you enjoyed that video I sent you. But I was watching her real quick. I was watching her Saturday morning and I was late, so I did 2 times. And there was a point where she's laughing and it was hysterical. It was just, I had to go back and record it on my phone and I sent it to her. But yeah, it was pretty funny. But everybody's saying hi. This is my sister, Deb.
Hi, Deb.
She's the one that got me started on keto. She started in June of 2020, and I started in September.
She's your guardian angel.
She is. I didn't think this was happening because I couldn't find it. I was bummed. I was like a lost puppy looking for my friends. I'm so sorry, Amy. I'm glad you made it. And Dustin from Keto Simple. Thank you so much, Dustin. Happy Friday, name Michelle recording, so I'll need to watch a replay. Have a great live YouTube. Thank you, Dustin.
Thanks, Dustin.
I see how you are. And this is Karen from Low Carb Spin. Hi, Cindy. And yes, this is Michelle, listening but driving. Be careful. So weight-wise, you said you were about 280.
Mm-hmm.
And that was 2020 in June.
Yes.
And weight-wise, where are you at now?
The last time I weighed myself, which isn't a very frequent thing anymore, I was 207. And that's with strength training.
Yep. And
which is why I don't really weigh myself anymore.
Health-wise, you're great.
I'm great. We had, it's funny that you brought up the CAC score. So my husband and I, we are very fortunate to live in Arizona. So we have Adam Nally as our primary care physician, which Doc Muscles, if you guys have heard of him, you know, he's huge in the keto community.
I have not. I'm sure some people have.
I was put into contact with him by Dr. Barry. And so he's an absolute blessing as well for people out here. And we did carotid artery scans last year because that's something that our health insurance would cover where they won't cover the CAC. And so we both had carotid artery scans and we are both 0. There is no plaque. And so as he's sitting there scanning our necks, he's like, you must do a ketogenic diet. And I'm like, by all means, I certainly do. And so
I wish they would have said that to me while they were doing that. It was crazy. I mean, I know I've battled high blood pressure since I was a teenager. So we're talking 50 years and not doing it, not battling that anymore. But that does a number on you. And I'm sure that's what did it.
Oh yeah, that's one of those ticking time bombs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I had when I found that out about the second score going up, I caught Dr. Ovadia on a live stream with Shaun White, Intentional Carnivore. And I asked him, I told him about the 2 scores a year apart. He said, typically as you age, your CAC score will increase 20%. So I said, mine went up 10%. I'm going to call that a win and forget about it now because I'm done.
Absolutely.
I'm so done. I just continue to do what I do and that's it.
You control what you can control and that's about it.
Yeah. Otherwise it will drive me crazy. For sure.
Yeah.
As long as it needs hours, I can run on my weekends when I'm working at home. That's awesome, Amy. Watch hours are the hardest thing to get when you're trying to get monetized. It's crazy. So, Michelle, you are a coach,
Yes, ma'am.
and I know you have, like we were talking about, you've reached out and invited me to these things, and I'm like, I'm on my way out the door. I can't do this.
Hey,
And I
man,
felt
bowling
so
takes
bad.
priority. It's okay.
I, you know, so what is your coaching style? Um, what are you coaching? Who are, I can't say who are you coaching, but in general.
Mhm. So Bronson was actually my mentor. It ended up being while I was doing a challenge that he hosted back in 22. I was watching how, what he would do for us and what his coaching and then, occasional visits from Nat were doing for me. And I was like, you know what? I have such a passion for helping spread the word and, letting people know that you can improve your life, you can improve your health. It's never too late to start over and make yourself better, that I decided I was going to go ahead and sign up. So I went through Primal Health, and I became a certified health coach through their coaching institute, and became a coach for Bronson, took over his boot camp program last year and coached for him for a little over a year before he decided he was going to take a step back, which then allowed me to move forward with my own coaching business.
Right.
I am not a dogmatic individual. I know what works for some people is not going to work for others. What worked for me 5 years ago no longer works for me. And I've had to make my own changes and fluctuate not only what I eat, but the different types of movement that I do to continue along this journey for the goals I've set for myself.
Right.
So in my coaching practice, it is not a one size fits all, because that doesn't work for people.
Mhm.
And if I have clients who slip up every now and then, it's not the end of the world. Pick yourself back up, keep going. That's not an excuse to keep going down this dark spiral that you think that you've set yourself into and that you can't get out of.
Right.
So I am very, very mindset focused in my practice, because without having it up here, you're not going to get it everywhere else. It's
Right.
not going to stick. I coach for long term. I don't coach for short term. You may have a short term goal, but that doesn't mean that it stops at that point, because that's just that diet mentality, which we want to get out of.
Mhm.
This is your life. This is everything going forward. We're playing the end game here, and we just keep on plugging and getting better as we get older. And a majority of my clientele are, I'm going to say, age 40 and up. Actually, no, I just signed up a gal who's 36. So 36 and up is my niche, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
I've had people who've had bariatric surgery in the past because of my history with it.
Mhm.
I've got women who are starting this in their 50s and 60s because they're just scared to death of what could potentially happen. They've got parents who are dying. They're having grandbabies that they want to be around for. So they're having major life changes happening, and they're realizing, okay, maybe I do need to do something different in order to be around for all of these people that I want to experience life with for as long as I
Right.
possibly can.
Right.
So,
Like
um,
we talked about my great grandbaby.
yes, a great grandbaby. That's incredible. I'm still
Yes.
waiting for grandbabies. So I mean, I claim my son's best friend's kids as my grandkids, but yeah,
There you go.
but yeah, I want to be the super active grandma who's on the floor and not having help getting up off of the floor. I want to be able to run around outside and play tag. There's a mountain that's literally right outside of my house that I am determined to conquer one particular trail, which is scaling the mountain. That's
Right.
what I want to do. And I'm 48 now, and I've got a world ahead of me. So yeah, there's no stopping me now.
Oh yeah. It's crazy. Jeff has a question. How tall are you and about how many people have you helped?
I am 5'8", and oh my gosh, in the past 2 years, I've probably had upwards of 40 clients.
Nice.
I have 10 active right now.
Very good.
And 2 of them have been gentlemen. So there you go. I do know how to
There you
coach
are.
the men because I got a
Not
husband that
just
I coach.
It's not just the women.
Not just the ladies, no.
That's great. That's great. You can tell I don't rehearse. I don't plan out anything. This is such a laid back thing.
We're off the
But
cuff. You're good.
yeah, it's just wild because there's so many people. First, there are all the dogmatics out there that I have sworn off of interviewing or anything else. I can't. It makes me absolutely nuts.
It doesn't help anybody. And as I've gone through coaching, it's the people that have come from those particular, social media influencers, certain, doctors, things like that, that they've followed what they've been told to do, but it hasn't worked. It's actually backfired for them. I don't know how many people I've had come to me after having gained 15, 20 pounds doing what they were told to do by carnivore influencers. It just doesn't work for them.
Right.
And
I mean, we've
okay.
talked about it. We've talked about it in here with previous guests that Dr. Barry's advice about carnivore calories don't matter. Well, to him, maybe not. Other people, it does. It
They
absolutely does.
Yeah.
You can't
and
just eat till you're comfortably stuffed. And
that's the thing. Okay. So what is comfortably stuffed? Because comfortably stuffed for me is completely different than I'm sure the comfortably stuffed he's talking about. Because comfortably stuffed does not work for me with having had a binge eating disorder. I can't do that.
Right.
And people who've had binge eating disorders, people who've had, food addictions, people who will sit there and they're still ingrained to finish everything that's on their plate. It doesn't work for them. And that's why I stuck and gained off and on for, like I said, 19 months.
Yep.
Because I was following their advice and that advice was not working for me anymore. So at the beginning of last year, I've had a 20-pound drop from January of last year through January of this year. And that is from, I did have to cut my own fat. I had to cut how much fat I was eating. I'm not by any means a low fat diet, but I had to cut my fat intake. And then I started my strength training program. And that's what has really, that kicked things into high gear for me.
Right.
And I don't feel weak. I don't have brain fog. I don't feel lethargic. I have more energy now than I did a year and a half ago.
Right.
Eating how I was told I was supposed to eat, So you just have to play around.
Oh yeah. It's just nuts. Sean says, what are some things you teach differently from Coach Bronson?
I don't coach a whole lot differently than Bronson. Like I said, I am very much about experimenting with my clients. If we're going to I get baselines on all of them. So, if you're in a 12-week program with me, you're actually in like a 13 to 14-week program with me because I do 2 weeks of, I want you to eat how you're eating. I need to see where you are at. Don't fake it because we're in this coach-client relationship anymore. I need you to be honest and transparent with me so that I can see what changes we do need to make. So I have them eat the way that they had been eating before. I have them keep their activity level the way that they've had it before so that I know this is what we're going to try. We try this for an extended period of time and we see how it goes. If they've got issues with, I feel like I'm not getting great sleep. I feel like I'm not getting enough sustenance in me. We play around with macros. I am not one of those people that is going to say you have to have your fat and your protein at a 1-to-1 ratio. That doesn't work for me. That doesn't mean it's going to work for you. But we'll play around. So it's not one of those and one thing that Bronson and Nat are very much about too is the all or nothing. Like it's not all or nothing, because that's just setting you up for failure. Mm-hmm. So if my clients enjoy doing HIIT workouts, they can do HIIT workouts. If they are wanting to have body recomp, I don't emphasize HIIT workouts. I don't encourage those. Let's try a strength training program, especially the women, because most women are just doing excessive cardio. They're not lifting the heavy things, which is what we need to do to change our bodies. You know, I mean, you people, you may have seen the thumbnail that she did for our live here. And you see when I weighed 179 pounds after I had weight loss surgery, I look thinner now than when I was 179 pounds at 207 pounds, because I was doing chronic cardio. I was doing cardio 6 days a week because I wasn't losing weight fast enough, because I had to lose 100 pounds. That's the magic number when you have weight loss surgery. Everybody has to lose 100 pounds. Guess what? I lost 97. I never hit the 100-pound weight loss. So you know what? I was a failure. I failed at weight loss surgery in my head. And then after that happens, you start gaining weight back. So when I had this band removed, I was over 200 pounds. I had gained back, 21, 22 pounds when I had to have surgery to get it taken out, because it was sliding down my stomach and essentially perforating my stomach. And that was back in 2015. And from 2015 to 2020, I went from, say, 205 pounds to 285 pounds, because I could eat, and I ate and I ate and I ate.
That's wild. Do you know of Wendy from Loving It on Keto?
I've met her at things here before in Arizona. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. She had the lap band and she had to have it removed because she had the same issues. And wow.
Yeah. She and I had a conversation about that a couple of years ago.
Yep. This is my sister again. She said, I like hiking in the mountains too. We need to stay active so that I can successfully reach the top. And yes, I can easily gain on carnivore.
Many people do.
And we talk about reasons to stay. She has 2 kids, 6, 7, 8 grandchildren, and I don't know how many greats right now. I can't keep them straight. 1, 2, 4. Debbie, 4.
Ooh,
great grandchildren.
Beautiful thing.
This is Kay running late. Hello all. Hi, Kay. And Evelyn says, I'm scared to start strength training as I still feel too heavy. Is there a certain something I need to meet to begin? I flipped my car over a cliff as a teen, always worried about triggering injuries. Advice.
Well, Evelyn, Cindy and I were just talking about the car accident that I had back in 2017 and how I actually had to go on a 5-month hiatus of my strength training from July through this month, July of last year through this month, because I've got multiple levels of disc bulges in my neck. And I've been going through procedures to be able to have the nerves burned, get ablations done in my neck so that I could start lifting again. But no, you don't need anything special to start lifting. You don't need anything. You're not going to start off like a freaking bodybuilder. You're not going to start off lifting like Nat and like Bronson do, because they've been doing this for years. But, start off with dumbbells, 2.5-pound dumbbells. Because if you're not using any sort of weights right now, whatever weight you do add to the moves that you do, then if you are lifting something heavier than what your body weight is, you're strength training. That's my opinion. So when I started doing body weight exercises, and then I added kettlebells into things, and then I added medicine balls into things, and so on and so forth. Slam balls, those are my favorite. And then I decided to do full-on strength training. Well, guess what? I started with 5-pound dumbbells, and that was enough. And then I was able to go up to 7.5-pound dumbbells, and then I went up to 10-pound dumbbells. And now I've got these little micro weights, which are super fun. They're 1.25 pounds, because sometimes going up 2 pounds is a lot, but 1.25 is doable. So if you're doing, essential movements or, squats, lunges, squat thrusts, if you're doing step ups, going from the ground to either a box or a platform or whatever, just laying on a bench or laying on the floor, having your 2.5, 5 pound dumbbells, doing chest presses, doing tricep kicks. Like, you don't need to be in top shape, because you're going to see, as that muscle starts to build, as it's growing, the fat is going to literally melt off of you. And that's what I'm saying. That was a game changer for me this past year, that I lost another 20 pounds by lifting heavy stuff. And that's building muscle and losing fat. So if I was only paying attention to the, pounds lost, that's what I lost. But I've gained muscle and lost fat. So my body comp is completely different than it was a year ago.
Right. That's why they say pay attention to how your clothes fit, and take your measurements and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, because in a year I went from a 14-16 down to a 7-9.
Wow. I like your philosophy. And yes, she has 4 great grandchildren. Amy says, where can we find you?
Oh, I'm all over the place, Amy. So
Facebook, Instagram.
I've got Instagram, and my Instagram handle is keeping us keto, keeping_us_keto.
Yeah, I'm gonna write all these down, and then I'll get them in the description of the video.
Okay. I have a private Facebook group, which Cindy is a part of, and that's what she's talking about. I do live trainings every Monday for people who are part of my private group. It's community, it's support, it's encouragement, it's advice. I still offer, even if you're not my client, I want to help you, obviously, because most of us got in this for the purpose of spreading the good word and trying to get people to be as healthy and strong as possible. I'm also on YouTube at Keeping Us Keto, which hopefully it's streaming to that right now. Hopefully I did that right. I'm not exactly all that technologically savvy. And then my website is www.coachmichellehall.com.
Yep. I'm going to search for there it is. Keeping Us Keto, all one word.
Yeah.
I just went off screen to find your YouTube. So.
Oh, okay. I
There
guess I
it
could
is.
look myself too.
It's there. But I'll put all that in the description of the video after we're all done and everything. But yeah, it's like I said, she's always reaching out. Since I've joined her Facebook group, I'll get these little messages. Join us. Join us. Join us for this or join us for that. I'm like, good.
And I am in Arizona, so my things are usually later than what other people's are. So I do everything 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, because Arizona, we don't change time, so it's either 4:30 or 5:30 for me, depending on the time of year.
So Lynn says, would you recommend weighted vests? Are those any better or any worse than anything else? I have one I love that has 1 pound sandbags I can add up to 20 pounds total.
That's amazing. Yeah. If you do walks, if you do hikes, absolutely, because you're adding that additional resistance onto your body.
I got to tell you, Lynn is probably about 5'4", maybe 5'5", about the same height as me, and tiny.
No, weighted vests have really made a comeback, which is great.
And Andy just subscribed to Yo.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we have a 5-month-old puppy now that I walk every single day. That's why I started a 21-day walking challenge in my group, because I'm like, well, I have to walk this little princess every day, so I might as well just challenge everybody else to get out there and do at least 1 mile extra, something, some intentional movement every day. And so I've been looking at weighted vests, and I'm going to be investing in one so I can stick it on. And while I'm walking that little girl around, I can, she's growing and beefing up, and so will mom.
Hey, what kind of puppy?
A Rottie. We're
Wow.
a Rottweiler family.
Yeah. We have an old dog that makes an appearance. My husband and I go live every Wednesday night at 6 Eastern time. And he makes an appearance every once in a while. He's little, so Brian will pick him up. But he's old. He's mostly blind, very hard of hearing. It's getting sad because, you know, it's tough. And he said, I did a walking challenge last week, but this cold has kept me inside for the past month. Cold, sickness, and cold temps in Ohio.
So Andy, I have to tell you, because I have a number of gals who are in the Midwest and East Coast that are in my group. And I mean, one of the girls, she posts, it's just stupid cold where she is. She's north of Chicago. And so she gets all that lake effect weather, and it's nutty there. I have another client who's in Omaha, and she's like, it was negative 22 real feel. And I'm just like, ugh. And they are part of this walking challenge. So you know what they're doing? They're walking circles in their living rooms. Or I have one gal who walks around her island in her kitchen till she hits her 1 mile. She's like, halfway through, I'll switch and go the other way because I'm starting to get dizzy, but that's what she does.
I was going to say, right now, I would be dizzier than heck if I tried to do that. Considering I have this other issue going on right now.
Yeah,
Just
vertigo's
as
not fun.
Lynn did.
Thank you.
Last week, she said. Last week, but it was last year. I'm like,
Oh,
what?
okay.
She said, I walked 1,200 miles last year. I needed a break. Well, the weather gave you that break, Andy, because it's like, woo, bitter cold. We're in Kentucky, so it's definitely, it's cold.
I know. I feel so bad complaining about our cold weather, but you know, I am a desert rat. I grew up in Iowa, but we moved from Iowa to Vegas when I was 9. So I've been a desert rat for most of my life. I have very thin blood. When I go back home to Iowa, and I'm like, in October, we went back home and I was freezing while it was 50 degrees. And they're like, it's beautiful out here. And I'm like, okay. But we live right at the base of a mountain. So we have horrible winds at our house. And I can't with the wind and the cold, and 52 and windy. Oh no, poor me. I know.
You know, it is. It's like I was living in New England from 1997 to 2021 when we moved to Kentucky. And I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. Living in New England through the winters is crazy.
Yeah.
It's cold, but the cold that they're going through right now, it didn't get that cold. But boy, when it gets snow, it's not just a couple inches like we get here. It's like footage of snow. That's crazy.
Yeah, no.
Normally, 1,200 miles all at once, Andy. No.
That was a long walk.
It was. I was stationed in Great Lakes, which is 50 miles north of Chicago. It was absolutely miserable up there. Came back from Christmas. It was 22 below with the wind chill. Crazy. And Amy just subscribed.
Thank you, Amy.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, I'll have Cindy post my Facebook group too, because like I said, everybody's welcome there. It's just about camaraderie and encouragement and support. And there are no stupid questions on my page in my group. I'll have people message me all the time, and I'm like, put it in the group, because you don't know who else thinks that this is a stupid question to ask, and then they get all these responses and to it. So I don't want anybody feeling dumb asking any sort of questions, because if you don't know, you don't know. It's okay.
Well, I've said, I already told you, I'm in my 60s, I'm mid 60s. And I always said the only stupid question is the one that doesn't get asked.
Absolutely.
Because just like you said, people don't know sometimes. 100 miles a month, about 3.5 miles a day.
That's incredible.
She was kicking booty.
There she is, walking laps in her house. Yes.
My house right now. Love my treadmill, but it can get a bit boring when you walk to nowhere.
I did invest in a walking pad. That's right down here in my office because I work from home and I am a phone pacer. That's the ADHD in me. So I will walk around. And the reason I bought it was when we renovated this area of our house, I couldn't walk around because it'd be too loud. So I had my walking pad and I would just get on my walking pad while I was on the phone. And it's been a blessing.
Yep, she's been walking to nowhere, Lynn.
Literally.
That's naval base. I think that's where my father was stationed after the war. Wow. Nice. Now, Rick lives in New Hampshire about 90 minutes, hour and a half from where we were from.
Oof. And the only time I've ever been on the East Coast was for Antithetic, and that was a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for him to host another one so I can come back.
Just tell him don't do it in the wintertime.
No, oh no.
The fall is beautiful, but it's cold. It can get cold, but it's beautiful.
I would love that.
I've been going up and down the stairs a couple of extra times a day because I can't get my daily walk outside done while it's this cold. No.
You know what? Make it happen how you make it happen.
Deb says, I like my treadmill too. I got it mainly for the 100-degree summers. She's in South Carolina.
Okay.
I grew up in the East Coast. Yep. Rick, that's the naval base up there. Yes. So, bariatric garbage surgeries. And we are not doctors. We're not medical professionals. Get that out here now, but good help me. Don't do it. Don't ever do it. Don't. I can't. Luckily for you, you were able to get yours out.
Mm-hmm.
So it was reversible. Mine is not. Nor will a doctor touch it around here. Because I have heard that one person in one of the groups has had his gastric bypass reversed. Now, I mentioned that to my doctor. Not that I would do it because there's way too much entailed. And she said, there's not a doctor around here that would even go there because it's too dangerous. Mm-hmm. It's like what they do during a gastric bypass is crazy. But to have that reversed, because they cut off part of your stomach and staple it, they reroute your intestines, it's just nuts. But I had that done. And I would never. I've got a video about my experience with that because it was horrible. Within 2 years, I was getting hypoglycemic episodes. I still get them if I eat something wrong. If I eat something carby and I don't follow it up with enough protein. You know, and I've not tried it, not that I would, even if I just ate a salad. Because it's carbs. Mm-hmm. If I didn't have any protein in there, it may just do that same thing. And I don't want to experiment, you know, because it's a horrible feeling.
No.
But Stacy here says, I agree, Cindy. My Roux-en-Y was a mistake. Yeah. And I've come across so many people that are saying the same thing. I went to my doctor. I self-diagnosed. And I went to my doctor. I said, I think I have hyperinsulinemic hypoglycemia. He says, what? He said, I've never heard of that. He got his computer out and looked it up the same way I did. He said, I think you're right. And I mean, I loved my doctor. He was fantastic up in New Hampshire. And so he was, and I asked him one time because I figured out I could eat. My issue is eating late at night. It's like, it always has been. It's crazy. I've really cut back a lot lately, but there for a while, you know, those old habits, eat late at night, go to bed. I asked him one time, why is it if I eat something in the morning, like, and this was before I started keto. So like crackers or a bowl of cereal, anything like that. I would wind up with low blood sugars within 2 hours. But if I eat that same thing at night, I could go all night long and not have a problem. He said, because your metabolism is so different at night than it is in the morning. He said, because at night you're at rest. In the morning, you're moving. Because I was working. He says, so it's not going to affect you because you're at rest. Your body is at rest. So when you find that you can eat that late at night and not have it affect you, that's why. So I'm like, hey, that means I can eat. That was where mine went right away. It was like, yes. But that was it. I had mine done in 2007. And I would never, if I had it to do again, I would never have done it.
And but we said to ourselves also when we were losing the weight, why didn't I do this sooner? Why didn't I do this sooner? What a blessing this was to me.
Yeah, you said you didn't get to the 100 pounds. I got to like 90.
Yeah.
And I was almost, the last time I got on the scale before the surgery, before they say you got to lose a percentage of your weight before they'll do the surgery, The last time I remember being on the scale is right under 300 pounds. Just under. I never made it under 2. Never did. And then the weight started creeping back up because I'm eating the brown rice and the whole grain pastas. You know, that's what they tell you to eat. Change the white breads to dark breads, the white rice to brown rice. It's like all this stuff. And I'm like, okay. And I changed everybody in the house so that I could eat what everybody else was eating back then. And I'm like, you know, and then here comes the weight creeping back up. And I'm like, this is nuts. So then I think, if I'm going to put on weight, I'm going to eat what I enjoy.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. That's when I started getting when I started getting all those episodes too. And, you know, my husband being a type 1 and seeing what he would go through with low blood sugars is how I realized what the heck I was going through. So I bought myself a meter, and I can remember my son coming over one day and I was outright on the couch, not feeling well at all. He came over and gave me a kiss on my forehead. He says, Mom, he said, you are sweating profusely. And I asked him to go get my meter, and my blood sugars were at 47. Oh. And I'm like, this is crazy. So thank goodness, unless I mess up, which everybody screws up sometimes. Nobody's perfect. Regardless of what all the dogmatic people in the world say, no one is perfect in this community. I don't have those episodes since I've started keto. It's very, very few, and that's only if I eat something I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Had we only been told that back then, a lot of us would never have gotten sick.
Had we been told had we been encouraged to make changes without surgery, that would have been a whole different story.
Yeah, well, you know, once you go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, it's, you know, people like to say, oh, it's not the easy way out. Weight loss surgery is so hard. No, it wasn't. It hurt and it sucked that I physically could not eat the things that had gotten me so fat, but it was the easy way out for me. And then I learned how to cheat that sucker. Just like I learned how to cheat Weight Watchers, just like I learned how to cheat every other freaking weight loss system I had done up until that point. I was on my first diet at age 9 and consistently struggled with my weight. I had my son when I was 20. I gained 75 pounds. Granted, he was a 9-pound turkey, but I gained 75 pounds with him.
Wow.
And he's 27 now. So, it was, I have consistently battled weight. I, as much as I hate to admit this, I stopped nursing him at age 3 months so that I could go on fen-phen because I was so fat. I had to get unfat. That was my whole thing. I had to be skinny. My whole life, it was just, you have to be skinny. You have to be skinny. That was the goal, be skinny. And so I deprived my baby of nutrients so that I could get put on a medication that could have very well killed me. And I took that for a while until I couldn't afford it anymore. And then I started taking phentermine, and then I started doing Weight Watchers, and then it was this, and then it was a revolving cycle of diet. When I would lose weight on Weight Watchers, I would reward myself with Jack in the Box on weigh-in day. I kid you not. Oh my God, I lost 3 pounds. I'm going to Jack in the Box. Because food was my reward. My stronghold was food. It was for everything. It didn't matter what emotion I was feeling. It was sadness. It was happiness. It was anger. It was excitement. It was food. I wanted food. And once I finally recognized and then chipped away at that stronghold, that's what made the real lasting difference with me. That's what led to actual change within my mind, my emotions, my body, everything.
Right. Well, when I had mine, we had so many family issues like diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, all this stuff. And the high blood pressure, I was there and had been, like I said earlier, like a teenager. So I wanted to have that surgery to run away from all those health issues. And, it's like my husband, I mean, he was great. He says, we had just been married a few years at that time. And he says, he said, you don't need to do this for me. He says, I love you the way you are. I said, but I don't love myself and I need to do something for me.
Yes.
And even though looking back, it was the worst mistake I could have made. However, I did start feeling better. I did lose the weight and it showed me that I could do it. But then it was like a punch in the gut when your weight starts coming back because you do what you're told to do. And that was like, if they would just have said in these support meetings, and I have often thought about this, and I wonder how these meetings go these days, is if they would just said once, there's a chance that you could suffer brain damage because of the hypoglycemic episodes, which have happened. You could lose your pancreas because of the hypoglycemic episodes, which have happened. That blog I found when I went to my doctor has all these cases of people post-gastric bypass that have suffered all these different things. And when I told my story about it, I couldn't find that blog, but I found one very similar and I posted it in the description for people to read because it's scary. Yeah. Had they only said these things to scare the pants off of somebody, I wouldn't have done it. As determined as I was, I would not have done it because I would have been so afraid of the underlying issues that could happen. So you would think that I hope like hell that these days these issues are coming out in these meetings because the surgeries are still going on and there's all this different things and it's like that's an aggravation,
Well, what happened to me was supposed to be a very rare thing to happen. And every single person I have ever met who's had lap band has had it removed in emergency surgery within 5 years.
Yeah, so it's scary.
I wasn't an anomaly.
No. It's scary, no doubt.
Yeah.
Debbie, I don't know what you've been smiling about here, but it's been a while. Regrets for mine too. Kay had hers too.
They had it.
Aha, a table, Rick. That's funny. But oh, he was using his treadmill as a table. That's what Debbie's laughing about. He said up here, I hate the treadmill. It's too boring. I'm using the treadmill as a table for some of my wife's plants. Treadmills can be boring. I have a TV right there. It helps. Yeah. Stacy says, I have multiple issues and gained back over 100 pounds, not knowing how to eat. Keto has saved my life.
Yep. What surgery did she have?
She had gastric bypass.
Okay.
Sean says, the main thing is that the nutritionist will have you eating all the wrong stuff. They told me to eat healthy grains, fruit, low-fat meat, and vegetables. My diabetes and fatty liver got worse. Yeah.
Yep.
And Sean posted something on Facebook earlier, and one of the comments that they made, and I know the guy, I'm hoping the guy was just joking, was crazy. He was saying that this is sugar, this is sugar, this is sugar, everything. And I loved it. But the first comment, I hope, Sean, you can tell me in the chat, because I was ready to say something. My husband says, let it go. Let it go. But as a person saying something, well, I like my rice and pasta and all that stuff way too much for all that, and with laughing faces behind it. But then Sean came right back with, well, this was better, and this is better, and this is better, and this is better, because I gave all that stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
And, thank goodness, because, man.
Yeah, people don't think about the health aspects of it. They think about, like, because I have a girlfriend who posted that same picture yesterday and said, I don't know anybody who ever got fat eating fruit. And my comment to her was, it's not about the weight gain. It's about the health. Like, it's still, your liver has to process that fructose, and that, then that's its main focus right after you eat that fruit. And I am not anti-fruit. Trust me, I eat my weight in berries during the summertime, but I eat fruit when it's in season. I will not eat berries this time of year. I cannot eat apples. I cannot eat pears. I cannot eat watermelon because my blood sugar skyrockets. And that's, again, almost 5 years of eating this way. It still has that impact on my body. So I choose to avoid it. But berries, oh, you better believe I'll go ham on some berries during the summer. Barbecues, they're always there.
So that was his nephew. He's in the Army and very fit. Well, that's good. I'm glad I never said anything then. Oh man, but I was like, but that's the commonality with people. I mean, I have 2 sons that are way overweight and not healthy. My older son has been on disability for a while. He has no colon. He has Crohn's. Multiple, I mean, surgeries in the 20s, 20 some odd surgeries he's had, in and out of hospitals. I can't even get him to eat even halfway healthy. And I'm like, dude, you sit there and you cry to me that you are sick and you don't feel well. I said, just eat meat. Just give it a try. Just eat meat. I don't care if it's hot dogs and hamburgers. Just eat those things and see how you feel.
It's so hard to see the people you love doing this to themselves, but unfortunately, and until they're ready, it's not going to happen. I mean, my father-in-law was diagnosed with stage 4 B-cell lymphoma back in 2022, and we lost him in April of 23. And
I'm so sorry.
He continued to eat. We offered to cook his meals for him. We offered to, I got them the book Keto for Cancer by Miriam, and I can never say her last name, who, she wrote this after her son's 9-year battle with glioblastoma. 9 years this child lived with glioblastoma because of how she fed him. Right. And they, even facing death head on, no, I don't want to change, until he was told, there's nothing more we can do. Then it was, okay, help me. We tried, but he would still sneak cookies in the middle of the night. You know, I mean, it was, if they're not ready, it's just not going to happen, which is unfortunate. And there's other family members who have said, I would rather die than change the way I eat, because their addiction is that strong. And it's heartbreaking, but that's when all you can be is, you can be a lighthouse. You can't be a foghorn.
Yep. My oldest son, you were saying your son is in his 20s and
27.
weighed 9 pounds something. My older son, who is now a grandfather, is 44. He was 10 pounds, 5 ounces at birth. And healthy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And now he's really sick. So it's like, and it's not like, yeah, I was morbidly obese for a long time, but I have set that example for my kids. You know, it's like, wake up. When you're talking about your father-in-law with cancer and this child, and there was a lady that at the bowling alley, and I've talked about this before, that was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer, I think. She had surgery, and they were getting together a care package for her. So they go around the bowling alley to the league, and they said, oh, get her some hard candies and all this stuff. I said, wait a minute. I said, you know, cancer feeds off of sugar. Why would you load her up with sugar? I said, I will not do that. I will definitely get her something. I gave her a card with cash in it.
Mm-hmm.
I said, get what you need. And none of them have that mindset. None of them. You know, it's like, they gathered up this bag of stuff, and I saw all these crackers and candy and all this garbage going in this bag, and I could have cried. It was like,
yeah,
this lady is like, you know, and they found spots several places on her body. But I'll tell you, this woman is amazing. She was bowling 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
She said, I asked my oncologist, and he said, you look good, you feel good, go bowling. You know, do what you like. But it's like, it just makes you cringe, because, you know, unless there's some miracle, because she has all this cancer just eating away at her. But the lady that I said that to, she looked at me like I was stupid. Yeah. And I'm like, you know, it is what it is. Read about it. Our oldest son's the same way. He's extremely overweight. He was undiagnosed sleep apnea. He's probably diabetic. He doesn't want to change. Yeah. It's heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
Stacy said, I had Roux-en-Y, and then about 10 years later, I had a band over bypass that ruptured. It almost killed me. I still have issues with stoma plugs. It's ketovore for me for life.
Yep. That's what happened with me. Was my band started slipping down. The stitches pulled and broke, and it was just going right down my stomach. And as I'm profusely, you know, bringing up anything else that was trying to go down, it was getting worse and worse. And yeah, it was a very scary thing. And when you argue with the doctor, though, when they tell you you need to go walk across the parking lot to go to the hospital for surgery, and you're like, no, I don't have time for that. That was me. So I don't have time for this. My son's graduating next week. I can't take time off work. Are you kidding me?
Right. Andy said, Michelle, are you going to the Alaska low carb cruise?
So I am part of the committee. So yes, I will be there.
Nice. Who are the influences you follow?
They're honestly very few anymore, because so many of them frustrate me. But I still follow Dr. Berry. I follow Bronson, Natalie. I really like Mary, and I'm having a complete brain fart of Mary's last name right now. I'll look it up. Jessica Reynolds, she is absolutely incredible because she's another one that's really good as far as strongholds, food addictions, things like that. Let me look up Mary Roberts. Duh. She's great, and I think she's Keto Mary on Instagram. She does a lot with food addiction and breaking those again, the strongholds that you've got within you. I do have Sean Baker on my Instagram just because he's very entertaining. But a lot of the other ones that I had been following very just intently, it's yeah, okay. Because you hear these things from these people saying, this is the way you have to do it. If you're doing it this way, you're doing it wrong. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No, let's not do that, because it might work for you, but it doesn't work for everybody else. I was nearly crucified on a post of Sean Baker's where he did his, side by side of some lady saying that eating the carnivore diet was exactly the same as taking Ozempic. And I'm like, okay, number one, what? But number two, no, it's possible for people to overeat on the carnivore diet and gain weight. And half of the people were like, yes, you're absolutely right. And half the people were like, you're doing it wrong. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Have a blessed day.
This is obviously my grandson. He just turned 16 yesterday.
Nice. Happy birthday.
His name is Chance, and he is one heck of a baseball player. This is all basketball stuff, but he's really good. I struggle with feeding my grandkids. They only want sugar.
Amy, I have two grandkids that are very similar, and the girl, she's actually really, really good. She'll eat basically anything. Of course, they want sugar and they'll ask for it, but I don't have it in my house, so they don't get it here. But I always have meat sticks, and I've always got cheese sticks, which keeps both of them happy. And if there's something else that they want, like I said, during the summer, especially they're over here a lot during the summer to swim and do that, I'll have fruit here. I will make Maria Emmerich's angel food cake and have that here. I'll do homemade whipped cream with, no sweetener in it. I'll do a little bit of vanilla in it, and I'll make a trifle. And I do a triple berry trifle. So I do a layer of the angel food cake, the whipped cream, and the berries. And it's usually, my grandson always wants raspberries. He's obsessed. And I always do blueberries and strawberries and raspberries in it. And those children inhale that, but there's no sugar in it. So there's no sugar crash, and they're in great moods, and they're continuing on with the rest of their day. So just don't have it in the house. You don't have to have it.
Yep, they're still getting that sweet taste that they want. See, I am a chocoholic, no doubt. Always have been. Choc Zero is my thing. It's like, okay. And it became a problem. I have seriously backed off. I haven't stopped, but I backed down a lot. That and keto chow, of course. It's like, just so good. Rick, you have a great day if you're not already gone. And I have no sugar in my house. When my grandkids come to see me, they get what I have and are very pleased usually. Yep.
I was fighting with the grandkids the other night at their house because they brought me fruit snacks to open, and I said no. So when their mom got home, they were like, help us. I'm like, we open this? Nope. Why?
Now, I will say on that note, they're Scrummy Sweets. I don't know if you've heard of them, if you've tried them.
I'm actually reaching out to them about the cruise. So yeah.
Yes, because they're strictly use allulose. Mm-hmm. They are amazing.
The
company is fantastic.
Year, right?
I'm sorry?
They had them at Keto Palooza this year. They were her swag bags.
They did. And I am an affiliate. But they really are. They're great. And the people are just fantastic. Susie and her husband are just wonderful. Happy birthday, Chance. Good ideas. Thank you. Yep.
Cheese sticks go a long way. Long way in my house.
Mhm. People will come to our house, eat what we eat, or go hungry. Yeah. I'm good, baby. I'll talk to you later. His birthday was yesterday. His dad's birthday was the day before.
Oh, nice.
And I don't even know if they've gotten their cards because, I've sent them. So, Chance, that's one thing you can answer. Did you and your dad get your cards? But yeah, it's just crazy. I got to say one thing funny though. You were talking about Weight Watchers, and a friend of mine used to work for Weight Watchers years ago. She said there was this woman that would come in and practically strip down before she would get on that scale.
Mhm.
Jewelry, everything, everything. And they would be like, whoa, slow down, you start thinking of top. Nope.
The lightest weight clothing you could wear to that place.
Mhm.
Absolutely. If they'd let me take it off and wear a sports bra, I would, but they didn't. They wouldn't let that.
But she said this woman would take off every bit of jewelry she had on before she'd get on the scale. And I'm like, that's pretty sad. My granddaughter's type 1 diabetic. When I went to see them for Christmas, I just cringed seeing my daughter give her some candy.
That's unfortunate, Lisa, because that's for whatever reason, and these doctors and these nutritionists who are treating these kids that have type 1 diabetes are saying, oh, well, then they don't have to miss out on the experience of being a kid. When did being a kid, when was that surrounded by food? Like, when did that happen? It should be experiences. It shouldn't be what they put in their mouths.
Right. I can remember as a grade schooler, there was a kid in our class that was a type 1 diabetic. And when he would have a low blood sugar, obviously give him a piece of candy to bring his sugars level. But then
Mhm.
everybody else like, well, why can't we have it? Right? Because we were young, it was like, hello. But
Yeah.
I can remember that. And even now, my husband, it's very rare. This a couple weeks after I started keto, he jumped right on board, and his A1C went from 7.9 in 2021 to 6.4, where he's been pretty level. And a type 1, he, he's happy. When I met him, his A1C was 17. He was out of control. But yeah, he was nuts. But even now, he rarely will eat anything with sugar to bring his sugars up. If he has a low, he'll stick with the glucose tablets, that they're sugar tablets. But in times like that, they need something.
Yeah.
But he'll reach for Chalk Zero. I'm like, that's not going to help you fast enough, dude. It's not. It might help you a little bit, but it's not going to help you fast enough. Mighty Healthy Michelle. I like that. Surgeons at the hospital I work at just infuriate me. They care more about lining their pockets with bariatric patients than with helping them with the root cause.
Mhm.
And these people are being led to believe that surgery is the only way they can be saved. I'm telling you,
It's your
if they
last
would
option.
just tell people what could happen,
Mhm.
I it's crazy. A
That is
patient
true.
cured is a customer lost. Yeah, sadly, yes, that's too true. I worked with Weight Watchers in Nashville office. I was encouraged to tell people about my 85-pound loss, but I couldn't tell them I had gained back 100. Hello, Mighty Healthy Michelle. That's an awesome name.
That's a great name.
Well,
Dang
Michelle
it.
is a great name.
And she spells it the right way too.
Yeah, there you go. There's no money in well people. That's
Big
right.
facts.
Staying high. And I just, it infuriates me. It's so aggravating. With the things that we've been led to believe all our life,
Mhm.
that upside down crazy ass food pyramid. and, ongoing. And it's funny because I watch myself now, and the way I eat now, as far as what's on my plate and how, and the order of which I eat it, to back then, I would say my favorite for last, which was the meat. So I made sure I ate everything, whether I needed to or not, because that was my favorite thing. Now, obviously, that goes first. Because anything else, if I can't eat it, that's okay. But as long as I get that in me, I'm good.
Absolutely. Get that protein in first.
It's time for me to start heading to bed. I'm running out of gas. Lisa, you have a great night, honey.
Get that sleep, Lisa.
It should be the only way to spell it. I was thinking Michel.
Yes.
Which to me would be Michael. In a roundabout.
And I get Michael all the time, so there you go.
They can't mess up my name. It's like, but if I say it, if we go to a restaurant and I say my name, they take your name or whatever for the order, inevitably they hear Sydney instead of Cindy, and they'll put SYDNEY. I'm like, no, that's not what I said.
That's not me. And see, my husband is Corey, but his is Corey, and they always do Cory.
Yep. It's crazy the way things can be misconstrued, misspelled.
Yeah.
But even Cindy is spelled so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
CINDI, CYNDI, CINDI. It's like, okay. More power to you.
Absolutely.
But anyhow, if anybody has any other questions for Michelle, we've been here almost an hour and a half already.
It doesn't even seem like it's been that long. I know I'm watching it get dark outside of my window right here.
I don't want to hold you up, but it's like.
No, you're good. And also, just so people are aware, on top of the primal health coaching that I did, I am a certified human microbiome specialist. And I've also just gotten my hormone or my menopause coaching specialist certification, because, for the ladies over 35, we need help. We need more than just Jesus. We need help. And so, being perimenopausal myself, I decided to let's learn what all there is to learn. And so I took off running with it and didn't rush through this program. I actually read every single freaking page. I made sure I paid attention for every test, and I got so much out of it that I'm just like, oh my gosh, thank you for creating something to allow us to help other women who are experiencing these things. Because I don't have a single living female that in my family who I can ask what their menopause experience was, because the women who went through it naturally have already passed, and everybody else was either medically or surgically put into menopause. So I am flying blind in this journey of mine, which is just fantastic.
I had surgically taken care of in my late 30s. Everything. So I went into everything right away. 28 years ago now. I'm good. I'm past all that BS. And I hear all these people talk about it that I know, and it's like, I'm sorry that you have to go through that. But I had it so easy. I very rarely even got hot flashes. Very, very rare.
And that's the thing is, I think, again, being 48, I know women in their late 30s who are they're struggling. And I think it's the lifestyle I live is a huge reason why, okay, I get the itchy inner ear. So I'm doing this all the time. Like my inner ear itches all the time. And there's times it'll feel like something is crawling on my skin. And sometimes I get a little bit warm at night, but I'm under all the comforter and everything. So I keep our room cool as it is. But that's been the worst of it. And, I am more regular now than I was in my freaking 20s and 30s. So go figure. But I think lifestyle has a lot to do with it. And that's why I wanted to make sure I had this certification under my belt so that my gals that are going through this realize, look, these changes can definitely help make this transition so much easier.
Right. I have to tell
Oh,
everyone
there's
how to
so many
spell
ways with
Sean.
Sean.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle.
Mighty Healthy Michelle, subscribe to your channel, Michelle.
Thank you.
And Stacy wants to know, are you going to Meat Stock?
I am not. I am limiting what I am doing this year. I'm actually hosting a conference out here in Arizona with Coach Jen Winkler, and we're having Dr. Nally, Dr. Brian Lenskys, Bronson and Nat are flying out here to present as a couple, and oh gosh, see, here we go. I get brain farts from time to time too. Temple Stewart, she will also be presenting there, and we're doing a catered lunch and stuff. So I've got a lot of focus on that because that's happening in March, and then the cruise is in June. And like I said, I'm part of the committee for the low carb cruise, so that is very time consuming. And if Bronson and Nat end up doing Antithetic this summer, I'll be out there for that, helping them with that as well. So yeah, I'm limited to what I can do. I stretched myself really thin last year, and I can't do it again.
Is the one in March, is it on low carb events?
It's on low carb events. Yes, it's called the Arizona Low Carb Collaborative.
What's
Yes.
human microbiome? Is that what you said?
Everything from our mouth to our rectum is your microbiome goes all the way. It's anything that passes into your mouth and goes all the way through stomach, intestines, and to the rectum. And I was fascinated by what I learned in that course as far as what our gut health means to our overall health and how much of it has really negatively impacted, especially neurological conditions, Alzheimer's, dementia, other issues with the brain because of that blood brain barrier. And unfortunately, if you end up with leaky gut or other conditions like that, those nasty things end up traveling in and can't pass through that barrier and into our brains. So gut health is extremely important.
Debbie said her menopause experience went by unnoticed.
Good for you, Debbie.
I'll see you on the cruise. Excited. This will be our first cruise ever.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, I've never been on one. And I don't think I would. I'm sorry.
I said Alaska. We've got adventures to go on there.
No.
We will be announcing 2026 next month. So stay tuned for that.
Interesting. Gotta have one that stays on land and not a cruise.
The cruise is so much fun, though.
I've never been on one, and I don't know. I can't afford them for one. But I don't know. Being on a boat, I don't know. Evelyn, Andy, take your winter coat.
I'm taking layers. I mean, it's in June, but it's still 50 degrees in June.
I work in endoscopy, and we have some of the sickest patients, all because of what they eat, which they think is healthy. Yep. Maybe a steamboat cruise. It's still a boat.
Rivers aren't scary.
Oh, man. Well, I got to say, this has been great speaking with you and getting to know more about you. And you never know, I might pop into one of those invites one of these days.
The replays are always available. Anything that I do with my live trainings, I always post inside the group so that there's access to it. So you'll never miss out. You just won't get to ask me questions live.
That's all right.
But I get the, hi, I'm here and now I'm leaving.
I'm popping in to say, oh, gotta go.
Gotta go, bye.
Layers for sure. And we'll see you in June in Seattle.
Very excited.
Very nice. I would love to get to the one in Arizona because I've been wanting to get out there to meet up with Wendy again.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, prayers for Wendy. She's going through some really tough stuff right now. She just has shoulder surgery.
Oh,
And what just weeks, maybe 2 months after a knee replacement. She's struggling. And it's her predominant side.
oh, that's rough. Yeah.
Yeah. She's having a tough time. This is a fantastic live. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you, Sean, for being here. No, Wendy from Loving It on Keto. Wendy Chinsky. Thank you both so much. Have a good night, all. You too, Kay. Loving It on Keto, Wendy. Yes. She's amazing. She's so much fun. I just love what Harry has got the best editing skills of anybody I've ever seen in my life.
To watch these two behind the scenes is straight comedy, let me tell you.
It's great. It's great. Watching them on screen is great. It's like I was talking to her on the phone a couple weeks ago, and I told her, I said, listen, I said, you all have to bring Marty back. That's all there is to it. Harry has an alter ego that they've named Marty, that he has put in these videos. And I'm telling you, he said, nobody watches that. I do. They're great. They're so funny. It's like, oh my goodness, it's hilarious. That one day, he's hilarious. I love him. He gives Sally, their dog, a voice. And I mean, it's just crazy. It's been great. Thank you, ladies. I'm excited about following you, Michelle. I miss Marty. Thank you. See, we need to start a Marty campaign with Wendy.
The Bring Marty Back campaign.
Oh my goodness. But now that he's given Sally a voice, it's just hysterical. It's just, oh my goodness. But yeah, anyhow, that's not what this is about. For Wendy and Harry, if you're watching, I hope you're doing well, Wendy.
Yes.
And, yes. Anyway, Michelle, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I'm so glad Bronson and Nat brought you to my attention. And these are my members. I want to thank all of them.
It was a lot of fun.
It's great.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we'll do it again. We'll do it
Absolutely.
again. That's great. Even if it's just to sit and shoot the stuff.
I'm all about that.
Yeah. But yes, anyway, everyone in the chat, thank you so much for joining us on a Friday night. I don't know. I will be here Sunday at 4:00 with Jerry Griggs, carnivore in the middle of the forest. Carnivore Jerry. I don't know what her name is now. She keeps changing it. Anyway, I'll be here Sunday at 4:00 if you all want to join us. But Michelle, thank you so much. And if you hang on 1 second, everyone else have a great night. And I will see you on Sunday.
Thanks, everyone.